We're always hearing about how technology is making our lives better, easier, more connected. But what if the very tools that are designed to make us comfortable are actually quietly changing how we see ourselves? What if they're leaving us feeling more disconnected than ever before? That's the paradox of the mediated self, and we're going to break it down.
I mean, this question probably hits close to home for a lot of us, right? We have literally everything at our fingertips. Food, movies, ways to talk to people. It's all been streamlined for maximum ease. But under all that convenience, there's this feeling, this growing sense of being isolated. So what is going on here?
Well, the perspective we're digging into today puts it in pretty stark terms. It argues that even though we're sold this image of being the all-powerful individual, the reality is the total opposite. The argument is that these mediated lives of ours lead to a self that feels, well, abandoned and isolated. This is the core tension we're really going to unpack.
Okay, so to get how we ended up here, we have to look at this really powerful, widely held idea, the myth of progress. It's this belief that technological evolution is always automatically a good thing for humanity, that it's always leading to an easier, better life for everyone.
And you can see why we think this, right? The thinking goes, if the tech is getting better, our well-being must be getting better too. Getting things easier, especially things that feel good, seems like a no-brainer, a total positive. We've kind of started to equate being comfortable with being more evolved. But is that really true?
And this is where our source material really challenges us to stop and think. It's asking a pretty pointed question. When did we start measuring human progress, not by our resilience, or our community ties, or our skills, but by how comfortable and self-focused we can be?
This leads to a fascinating, and maybe a little unsettling counterargument. The idea is that this endless push for comfort isn't really about evolution at all. It's about control. That what we call convenience is actually a way of taming us, making us more and more dependent on the very systems that provide that convenience.
This slide just lays out the bait and switch perfectly. On one side, you have the promise. We're told we'll be independent, strong, totally in control. But the source argues the reality is the exact opposite. We're slowly shifting from being producers to just being dependent consumers. We're becoming weaker and way more detached from how things in our world actually get made or done.
Just think about this for a second. Paying with your face or tapping your phone is ridiculously easy. But that super convenience does something sneaky. It makes the old way, like using physical cash, suddenly feel like a chore, a burden. The easier the new thing is, the more the old way feels like a hassle, and the deeper our reliance on the new system becomes. And just like that, we lose a small skill, maybe without even noticing it's gone.
So how does this actually work? What's the secret mechanism that's creating all this detachment? Well, this is where we get into a really important philosophical idea that explains the whole process: technology acting as a mediator.
The philosopher Martin Heidegger talked about this idea. And put simply, mediation is just when a tool, some piece of tech, gets in between you and your direct experience of something. So instead of, interacting with the world itself, you start interacting through the tool. It's kind of like putting a permanent filter on your reality.
So this is how that path to detachment actually plays out. It seems simple, but it's incredibly profound. First, you have a direct experience. Then a tool gets introduced. Pretty soon, you're not having the experience anymore. You're experiencing it through the tool. And here's the kicker, the final step. Your understanding becomes fragmented. You know exactly how to use the app, but you have no clue how the phone that runs it works or how the global network that delivers your food functions.
And this is the end result, something called hyper-specialization. We each get really, really good at our one tiny little thing. We get our own little window onto this massive, complicated world. We see our one piece of the jigsaw puzzle in perfect detail, but we completely lose the ability to see the whole picture. It creates what the source calls a flat perspective.
And look, this isn't just some abstract, intellectual problem we're talking about. This fragmented view of the world has a huge direct impact on us, on our emotional lives, our psychology. It completely changes how we feel about ourselves and where we fit in. Because when you can't see how the world fits together anymore, when you only understand your tiny little corner of it, it's really easy to start feeling small, unimportant, like a tiny cog in some giant, unknowable machine. And according to this analysis, that is exactly where these all too common modern feelings of loneliness, alienation, anxiety, and depression really start to grow. Which brings us right back to where we started, to the paradox. I mean, just look at this comparison. The marketing, the commercial image tells us we're empowered,
The I is the hero, the center of this universe, built for our pleasure. But the actual result of this mediated, fragmented life? It's an I that feels more insignificant, more abandoned, and more isolated than ever before.
And so, this is the final crucial question we have to ask ourselves. We chase convenience like it's the ultimate prize. But if that convenience costs us our skills, our independence, and our real connection to the world around us, what's the price we're actually paying for it?